Good evening, everyone. Evolutionary TV is back online. I'm your host, Terry Earthwind Nichols, with the lovely
Linda Betches Nichols,
my co-host and superstar. Last night we talked a little bit about five senses and how different things work with starting the CR process and how much it's different. So tonight we're going to pop another tip in there for you, as you see on the subject line, how to cancel emotional stuff that's going on, right? How to cancel the emotional charge of overwhelming emotions. Linda, hop in.
Well, we have two sides of our brain, and on one side we have logic, which is the left side. The other side is where we run emotional pictures. And so when we're really upset, what's kind of the first thing that you do, right? Or just you've seen people upset. What's the first thing they do? They put their hand over their forehead, right?
Oh my God.
Because they can't think straight, right?
Adio.
So what happens when you do that is you're actually bringing logic over into those emotional pictures. And my background is special ed, and I'm also trained as an educational kinesiologist.
Yeah, for those who've forgotten biology and psychology back in high school 1,000 years ago, there is a left side and a right side, the left hemisphere and the right hemisphere in the brain. Left runs logic or straight line, 1 + 1 = 2, etc. But the other side is abstract thoughts, and boy, isn't the flower pretty. I think the sunshine is great. There's no real correlation there, but when you're highly emotional, grabbing both sides of your brain and reconnecting a discharge or a disconnect or short circuit to help you bring both of them back into tandem is very important, Linda.
Yeah, well, when we do that, we just almost instantly calm down. And why is that? Well, it's almost as if there's an energetic wire coming out of the left side of the brain and an energetic wire coming out of the right side of the brain. And those two wires cross when we put our hands over our forehead. There's a lot of energy in our hand. The most energy is middle finger. Isn't that interesting?
Also the longest.
Yeah, that must be why people use that finger to flip each other the bird, right?
Yeah, we understand. Electricians don't mess with wires with their left hands per se, because that's where it enters the body, and that's where the highest chance of electrocution can occur.
Yeah, and
very interesting.
And it's interesting because we wear our watches on the left, and when you wear your watch on the right, it actually holds the dirty energy inside, because energy enters from the left and it gets polluted, it comes out the right. And you'll see a lot of kids with special needs wear watches on or even bracelets on the right, because they're lacking so much neuroenergy. They're going to hang on to as much energy as they possibly can, even the dirty energy. It doesn't matter. It's energy to them, right?
Yeah, so to speak. Now, that doesn't mean that a southpaw or left-handed person would necessarily be handicapped that way, but the indications are there. Okay. So, yeah, the hands are really the tip for tonight. Is my hand is my helper. She came up with that. Good, huh? Go ahead and explain that, Linda.
Yeah, well, after working in a psychiatric day treatment center with little kids, that was super, super positive for me. And it isn't about numbing out when we do that. It is about creating healthy detachment, and so that we're not paralyzed with fear and we can take action, positive action.
Yeah, positive action, right? Quickest way for us to get control, obviously, is the emotional impact and being able to think well on our feet, so to speak. And this is a big deal towards better mental health, for sure. Linda?
Yep, I agree. It's been a fantastic tip to be able to pass on to moms when they're losing it with their kids. My hand is my helper. I even use it with my book coaching clients, because that's a very emotional thing to go through, is writing a book in 30 days. There's a lot of emotional stuff to clear. And yep, sometimes I just say, get your hand over your forehead, right? And then it gets them grounded and centered and focused. Does that make sense?
Absolutely. And another good example would be what happens to you when something of high emotion occurs, loss of a loved one, a child gets, your baby gets hurt, something like that. Everything's going crazy. The ability to go, okay, let me get a hold of this.
Let me think is just
Let me think.
Mm-hmm.
You can think a whole lot faster than you think you can. Okay, it's a nanosecond to make a decision, an informed one and a correct one in your circumstance.
Mm-hmm. So
the hand over the forehead is huge, isn't it?
Yeah, it also works really well when you've forgotten something. It's like, oh man, I forgot what that. Get your hand over your forehead; it'll come back.
Yeah.
And it does.
And it does. Another night of Evolutionary TV. Talk to you soon.
Thanks for joining.